Hello, assalamu alaikum. Those of you been there today. This video is nothing but those who have taken the lesson today. If anybody's watching this video, basically they might not see everything. They might be skipping or missing some steps. Okay, but at the same time, it will give them some valid lessons. So it's Muhammad again, network and a cybersecurity trainer. Today we're going to talk about a next generation Wi-Fi, and this is what Fadila Techno presents. So no cheap, no cheat, okay, and no chunk of 5 days courses, right? You know that they sell pizza in a box, yet it's been sliced. Why? So you can eat them. We slice the courses so you can capture and retain them. Okay, so what we have for you today, we have for you the things that you already went through today. So this video is a recap, and this video is a basically summary. It's gonna absolutely put you on track. Okay, so Wi-Fi, what's Wi-Fi? What's the definition of Wi-Fi? Definition of the Wi-Fi is wireless fidelity, and we're going to talk about today how does it do encryption, how does it do authentication, what sort of radios it uses, what sort of frequencies it uses, what sort of channels, and what are the interferences, alright? How many ways of setting up are there? How many ways you set up the Wi-Fi. We're going to talk about BSS versus ESS. We're going to talk about corporate Wi-Fi versus guest Wi-Fi. We're going to talk about channels. 802.11n, 802.11ac, and 11 basically ACX. Okay, as we said, we're going to talk about personal versus enterprise mode, WPA2. Okay, we're going to talk about 20 wide, 20 megahertz versus 40 megahertz, 2.4 gigahertz versus 5 gigahertz. We're going to talk about 16 and 11 versus 36, 40, 44, and 40. All right, we're going to basically end up set up and deploy both guest and the corporate Wi-Fi, both personal and enterprise. Okay, so without further ado, let's dig in. Okay, so welcome back again. Thanks for listening for that introduction. Okay, I hope it wasn't too long for a publicity. Okay, so here we've got BT router, and we've got a BT home router. We're gonna basically configure the stuff. Okay, so let's get going here, and this router is now booting, and there's nothing there. Everything is blank. Okay, so let's configure this router. So we have 3 steps. Let's exit first. This is called user mode. So enable. Okay, from there, from the hash, config T. Okay, we're gonna give this router a name. Host name, BT. Great. Interface. Okay, we're gonna configure the DHCP. So IP DHCP, and and we say exclusion. Okay, 90. Okay. When it's the back, oops, I shouldn't back everything. So again, IP DHCP pool, and I'm gonna call it CCNA. This is my pool. Okay. Remember, it doesn't recognize space. That's why I'm basically doing type in underscore underscore. That's my scope. So network. Standard mask. Default router. DNS. Oops. Google DNS. WR. Control C WR. Show run. Everything. So now, what else? This interface is connected to other router. Let's give that interface an IP address, because that's where the DHCP will be going out. Okay, so again, every time you're here, exit, that's a user mode. Enable. You are now privilege mode. What's the privilege? I mean, I have the privilege to attend, one of the best well-known university. Oh, that means you have a privilege of doing something. You have a privilege of having something. Privilege means you could do a lot here in this router. It's called a privilege mode. Okay, and then config mode. This is called config mode or global configuration mode. Okay, interface, fast Ethernet. This interface. Give an IP address. The IP address must be part of the network that you've had. It can't be something else. Mask should be the same as the DHCP as well. I mean the mask. Oops. IP address. That's what I'm supposed to say. Or I'm supposed to type 90.10.21 255 255 255. No shutdown. Show run again. What I put before. Interface. Check. Every interface that you have must have an IP address. Done. Go to this guy. So it's got two tabs. The top side and the bottom side. The top side is the side that facing the red. The bottom side is the type that's in the green. Green is inside. Okay? The red is outside. So here, look at this internet setup. DHCP. No Wi-Fi. No wireless bridge. Automatic. Save it. Point the mouse to. Has he got an IP address? Yes. Alright. That's it. Why? Because you said start from 10. Exclusion means keep those addresses. So now, why this guy still basically kind of like, what's going on here? Okay, what's going on here? Why this cable is still red? Okay, so it's good now. Excellent. It's now green. Great. So now, I've configured the DHCP on this guy. This guy is going to be what? It's going to be a DHCP client. Client for who? Client to this guy. This guy is DHCP server. DHCP server for who? To this guy. Now, we're going to also turn this guy as a DHCP, basically as a DHCP. But what we don't want here now, we want to basically configure the enterprise. Remember what we're aiming? The Wi-Fi enterprise. So I'm going to bring this guy as well here. So what I'm going to basically do, I'm going to basically set up this guy as a DHCP as well. So this guy is called what? It's called the address. So first of all, before you configure DHCP on this server, make sure itself has a static IP address and 192.168.30.2. Okay, and what is this address? 192.168.30.1. DHCP is disabled here because there's no DHCP anymore. There's a DHCP. What does that mean? When this guy is going out to the internet, it's passing through this guy, and the default gateway is this guy. The default gateway of every PC now is this guy. And what is the default gateway? It's the gate that you're passing through to get out. In your house, you have a door. Everybody has to go through that door. A network will have to have a door. And what is that door? That's a default gateway. That's how they get out from their network into another network or into any other network. Okay, configure that. So the IP address. So what do we do? Desktop. Show you here, desktop. IP configuration, not DHCP, click static. Give the address, fill out the detail, and then go there. Next, go back to itself, expand it. Services, DHCP, and fill out this. Scope is a scope 1. What's a scope? Now, let me basically introduce in something that we have not talked about today. Scope is what you configuring every time. Every time somebody's gonna talk to you about DHCP, they talk about scope. It's gonna talk about lease time. Okay, lease time is how long the DHCP will distribute these addresses. 8 days before it renews the addresses. How long the clients will keep for specific addresses. That's the lease line. When you're renting a house, when you're renting a building, you have a lease. It's the same though. So it's scope, lease, array, whatever they talk about. Remember those acronym, those vocabulary. So DHCP scope 1. Give a default gateway, give a DNS, give the starting address, give the subnet mask, save it. And where are they? They're here. Scope name the scope. Default gateway is 1, which is the router. Default gateway is what? I'm here, that's default gateway. DNS, Google DNS. Address and so on. Done. So now, we want every PC to get an address from the server. So where do we go? So basically we're gonna go there, hang on, the server, what address it has. Yeah, it's got 2, absolutely. 192.168.30.2. Okay, so every PC now must obtain IP address from the DHCP server. 5. Why is 5? We said it start from 20. What are you doing? Hang on. Yeah, we said it start from 20. Sorry, 30. And how many addresses? 256. Okay. It's confused now. Alright, so that is some error. Let's not spend time because we are expecting 30.30. Okay, at least it's working. No default gateway, but it's getting basically DNS. What about this guy? 4. Okay, so at the moment it's not giving us what we wanted it because we wanted to start at 30, but at least it's halfway working. Okay, I don't want to spend time right now because it could be just the software itself, but as you can see, I was really expecting, you know, to start from 30. Can you see here? That's what I was expecting, you know, 30.30. I wasn't basically expecting to be that's such dumb. Okay, right, great. So what happened now to Wi-Fi, which is the aim now? So the Wi-Fi, we already shown you how to configure BSS, but let me do it again, the BSS. So here's the Wi-Fi, and I'm gonna turn up BSS. So Wi-Fi, I'm gonna say this. So here is not an enterprise, but just the personal, and I'm gonna say Cisco 123, and I'm gonna basically save it. Okay, I'm gonna basically disable this. Okay, so I only got so here, as you can see here on this is a little bit newer than the one we had today. So because this one has got 2 gigahertz, 2.4 gigahertz, 5 gigahertz, 5.2 gigahertz, and so on and so forth. So if I also turn this one as well, I can use the same one. So whoever is using 5 will come, and whoever is using 2 will come as well. Right? And this is it. So personal, and that's it. So now let me go to my device now, and so here's the test. It's also test. I'm going to disable this one. So as you can see here, my Wi-Fi SSID is going to be test. I'm using 2.4 as well as 5. I'm going to go to this guy, and I'm going to set up the same. So PC3, what is the Wi-Fi? The Wi-Fi is the test, I believe. This is the test, and it's a PSK, and the password is Cisco 123. Was it 123? Yeah. So there you go. So it's connected. So how did we do? We go to this guy. We set up the SSID. Okay. We set up the SSID here as a test. Next, we went to the Wi-Fi here, and we set up the personal. Okay. Encryption, passphrase, set up both 2.4 and a 5. We gave the same details to this guy. Right? Wi-Fi, WPA PSK, SSID is test, password Cisco. Good. That is BSS. Now we're going to configure ESS. Okay. So how do we do for the ESS? Now, what we're going to do for the ESS, we're going to prepare this one first. Let's see first if this guy can support ESS, sorry. Yes, it can support, absolutely. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to basically prepare this guy. So I'm going to say ESS. So this one is WT. The share secret, I'm going to use what? That's a secret key. The IP address is 192.168.30.1. That's the IP address of the router. That's the name of the router. This is the passphrase they are basically sharing each other, or the secret, share secret. I'm going to basically create here a user. I'm going to create Hassan, and the password is going to be Cisco24, and I'm going to add it. Okay, so user Cisco24. This is the password we're going to authenticate with the user. So when user coming in, he works for the Techno, just joking, or whatever, or the company, he's going to use this. We set up this one, and that one is also on. Okay, next we're going to go to this guy, and we're going to tell the same. We're going to set up the radius. So we're going to set up Wi-Fi, and we're going to go here. Now we are using the enterprise, not the personal, because we have tested the personal already. So we're going to go enterprise, and the IP address is going to be 192. It's going to be 168. It's going to be 30, and it's going to be 2. And the secret key was what? What was the secret key? The secret key was what? Remember this the triple A, that's a triple A we talked about today. So that's it. And also we're going to do the same as well. So if anybody's coming up with 5 gigahertz, they can also connect it. Radius the same. Why we are doing this? We're doing this because if a client is using 2.4, it can connect using the same share key and the same encryption. If it's using, and the same encryption, I would say encryption. Okay? If it's using basically 5 gigahertz, it could use the same encryption and also the same shared secret key. So now, this guy now must be disconnected. So it's still disconnected. It's still connected because it's using the previous stuff. So let's say now so it's still caching. Why is still caching? Because we are still using the same SSID. So it's still connecting, but it won't absolutely do anything. Still saying successful, but that's just a false pretext. Okay, so now we're going to basically change it, and we're going to say Hassan, and it's going to be Cisco24. Right. So now, let's see. You see now it's get disconnected. Now it's not basically connecting. So I just post the video, but it's not connecting. So let me go back again. So this guy is what? This guy is the client, and we're trying to connect this guy as a network corporate user. We selected WPA2 Enterprise. We have given it username and a password Cisco24. Okay, so let's investigate why it's not connecting. Where do we start? We can investigate this guy or this guy. Let's go to the server, go back to the server and investigate AAA. So yes, We have the name, we have the secret key, we have the IP address, we have safety. Yeah, we have the username and we have the password. Great. Excellent. Let's go to the router. So we go to wireless, Wi-Fi. Oh ya Allah. Why is it personal? I selected enterprise. That's the reason. Maybe I have not saved it. Okay, 192. And that's where you have to go. You just have to go step by step, investigate it, so that you can absolutely see where you basically made the mistake. So the key is what? The key is pass at, I believe. Yeah. So the key is pass at. So I go there. I need to basically configure 2.4 and a 5. So if a device is using 2.4, they will come in. So make sure everything is the same. So radio server is the same here as well as here. And the shared key must be the same. Okay, so let me save it now. Shared key must consist of alphanumeric characters. Okay, so it doesn't like the at. So let me just say pass 23. Pass 23. Okay. Save. So it's accepted. So I picked the enterprise. I told the IP address of the radio server, which is this one. I have given it a shared secret on both 2.4 and a 5 basically option, right? So if I go to the basic, SID is a test on both 2.4 and it's a test on 5 as well. Let me go to the router, sorry, this guy. Let me modify that as well. The key should be just the pass. It's very sad because it doesn't like the non-alphanumeric. Let's go back again and say Hassan24. Okay. Sorry, Hassan and Cisco 24. Voila! This guy is connected. So, that is, I don't know how long, guys, I've been... So it's about 27 minutes. We have configured the enterprise. So please watch the video again and again so you can set up the DHCP. You can also set up the enterprise. Now, at the moment, the reason why I am using the router, this router is not a DHCP, remember? For the clients, it's disabled. Okay? So, everybody now, everybody, including this guy, they getting the IP address from where? Okay, from this server. Everyone. If I bring a new guy, watch. Laptop. Has this guy got Wi-Fi? No, it's only got Bluetooth. It hasn't got Wi-Fi. That is still amber. That's why. See that cable? Still amber. That's called a spanning tree. We'll go deeper into spanning tree, inshallah. So let's wait until that becomes green. Yeah, absolutely. It received 8. So, as you can see, this is the DHCP server. This is the DHCP server, as you can see. So this guy is the what? DHCP server for everybody. So now you can see that in 27 minutes we have shown how to demonstrate how to basically configure enterprise. So this guy now, Hassan24, is now using his own username and a password, given by the company, okay? And that is how he's accessing the network. Okay, what's going on? Okay, also if you go here, the logical, the physical, okay, and you click here and you click the rack, jump to the rack, you can see how things are connected. Okay, so here's the iPhone, or the phone basically. Here's the access point, right? And here's the router, the DHCP, the switch, and DHCP and the router is connected. Sorry, the DHCP and the router together. And this guy is the laptop. So here's your laptop. Can you see your laptop here? And here's the phone. That's how good this stuff is. And here's the server. So this is how things are connected in real life, right? And you got your monitor as well. If I go to physical now, logical, physical, logical, physical. If I ping something, right? Let me show you if I ping this. Let me drop something here. This is called a simulation. So that's successful. Take this one, ping this guy, so you can ping it. So what IP address this guy has? ipconfig. That's the IP address, the mask, default gateway. Come on, where's the default gateway, man? But can this guy speak to this guy? Yes. They're on the same network. So ping. Oh, that's the password, man. You can't ping the password. So I say ping. Was that 30.7, right? I can also say trace set. Great. So it's fine. And this is basically how you set up ESS. I say enterprise mode. So what do you need? You need a radius server. So if somebody asks you tomorrow, what do I need for corporate Wi-Fi? You say to them you need a radius server that authenticates the user. So the radius server and the router Wi-Fi, they basically share something called a secret key. And the shared key is basically they communicate each other, they authenticate each other, they speak to each other, right? By their IP addresses. So this guy knows the IP address of the router, which is here, right? And this is the share secret. Also, the router knows the IP address of the server, and where is that found? That is here. And the shared secret key is here. Once I know your IP address and the secret key, we can exchange information we can authenticate users. Users now here, they're not here. So before Hassan get into the network, this router say, Hassan, hang on, let me talk to the DHCP or a radius server. This is DHCP as well as radius server as well, right? So the router will say, Hassan, wait, I'm gonna speak to the radius server. Radius server will come back to the router and say, yes, Hassan has an account here with me, so please let him come in and connect. All right, so basically that was wonderful, guys. So inshallah, I'll see you next Saturday. Watch this before you do your homework. So without further ado, have a good night.